Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Calling Podcast. Surprise. How are you guys doing? I just wanted to do like a surprise live stream. The reason I wanted to do a live stream is because, well, it's because, surprisingly, I actually get a lot of questions from a lot of my Muslim brothers and sisters regarding my channel, regarding Islam, and all this kind of stuff. So I figured that let's do a live show or something like a live stream where I will basically answer any of your question to the best of my ability. And now, of course, like if I cannot answer a particular question in regards to either the channel or regarding Islam, then of course I'll refer to the experts and whatnot. So, and also I'm gonna talk about the video that I just released. I don't know if you guys saw it. I just released a video on Aaron Ra. Got a lot of interesting response to that, so I'm gonna talk about some of that. I'm also going to talk about the future project that inshallah I'll probably work on, and also I'll talk about some recent news that has been happening regarding the Muslim war, regarding Islam, or regarding apologetics. For example, this recent event that happened in regards to what's been going on in Palestine and Israel and whatnot. So that should be interesting. So yeah, so it seems like no one's watching yet. That's okay because it's a surprise stream. Uh, so I'm gonna wait, I guess, till some people show up, and uh, and then inshallah we'll start the show. I guess. Uh, no one's here yet. I don't know what time it is over there. Um, so again, guys, remember, if you guys want to ask me any question, inshallah I will answer in this live stream. And I'm planning to do this live stream as more like a regular show if I can. And so we'll see, inshallah. I'm gonna be online, inshallah, for like an hour or so. So if you guys have any question regarding Islam or regarding anything in regards to this channel, you can ask me in the comments. Inshallah, I will answer. Because I do get a lot of questions in regards to Islam and in regards to apologetics, how to argue and whatnot. So yeah, for an hour or so, I will answer those questions, and also I'll discuss my recent video. So actually, you know what? Let's get started on that front. No one's watching it. Actually, you know what? Let's get started. Hopefully, people will show up once I get started. Okay. So, so let me share the screen. Uh, okay. So recently, I just released a video. Brother Malcolm says, "Assalamu alaikum, walaikum assalam, bro. How are you?" Just doing a Q&A in case you guys have any questions about me or like the channel or anything like that. How are you guys doing? Also, I wanted to do some post video analysis of the video I just released in case you guys didn't see it. So recently, I just released a video on Aaron Ra and some of the very stupid mistake he made in his debate with Jake, the Muslim metaphysician. And I talked about a lot of things, and I noticed that a lot of his followers were very angry at me. I got like, although I got like 30 likes, I got like 6 dislikes. I'm guessing these are like Aaron Ross followers, so they like swamped the comment section. Uh, so I'm gonna answer some of those questions because I found some of those kind of like hate comments kind of funny. So especially atheists, man. I mean, like, it, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, like a lot of them are not that bright, to be honest. But anyway, so let me show you guys some of the comments I got. Let me share the screen. Uh, as you guys can see here, I actually didn't get a whole lot of comments from like Aaron Russ followers, but I got some of it. So I thought this was interesting. So I'm gonna talk about this for a bit. So one guy commented on my video saying that evidence does not prove anything. Okay, this is where I stopped taking you serious. It doesn't even say serious. It's actually supposed to be seriously, but anyway, whatever. Either your definition of evidence is wrong or you're delusional. So if you guys watch the video, so basically what I talked about in the video is that basically Aaron Ross says that theists, they cannot prove that God exists, so they just use arguments. But what's funny is that arguments are necessary to prove anything. Like if you want to prove anything, whatever it is, you need arguments. So I made the point that evidence by itself doesn't or cannot prove anything, right? And I use an example or an analogy, which is that imagine someone says that Aaron Ra has a knife in his house. This proves that he killed someone, right? Or he's a murderer, right? Now you could technically say that this person has evidence for his belief, right? But just because he has evidence doesn't mean that he's correct. No, of course not, because evidence by itself doesn't determine whether something is true or false. It's the argument that determines whether something is true or false, right? For example, the thing that is going wrong with with the example here is that the person who is making the claim is actually making a very fallacious argument, right? Because just because someone has a knife in their house doesn't necessarily mean that that person is a killer. A lot of people have knives in their house because knives have other uses. So it's a fallacious argument. So the problem here is the argument, not necessarily that they don't have evidence. So oftentimes what will happen is that even if you have a lot of really good evidence, because of bad argumentation, anyone you simply cannot simply accept positions where people have evidence for their side. For example, you will see this with a lot of conspiracy theorists, where a lot of conspiracy theorists are actually very smart and they gather a lot of kind of like evidence. But a lot of times the problems that happen is that basically they don't have good arguments on their side. So saying that simply having evidence prove something or disprove something is a very stupid thing to say, because evidence by itself doesn't determine anything. Anyone can claim they have evidence on their side. A person who denies I don't know, like denies that that moon landing is fake can say that they have evidence on their side. They'll show pictures and say that, oh, this doesn't look real and that and whatnot, right? So it's not that, or a flat earther, for example. By the way, nothing against flat earther, in case any flat earther is watching. I don't think that position is very, I don't believe in that position personally, so I don't agree with that. But anyway, oftentimes they will like bring a lot of evidence for their case. And but the issue here is not necessarily the fact that they don't have evidence. They do have evidence. It's just that they don't have good arguments to back it up, you know. So that this is why I said, if you have a bad argument but have all the evidence that you require, that doesn't mean anything, because it's not the evidence that determines whether something is true or false. It's the argument, right? This is why in court cases you see people argue back and forth. They don't simply say, oh, I have a knife. This proves that this person killed someone, right? No, I mean, like, first you have to show that this knife belongs to this person, right? And then you have to show, like, you have to make arguments for your case. Then the other person who you're arguing against will argue against that, right? So this is a standard practice in any academic field. But here, this guy says, "Oh, you just need evidence." But anyway, so I made a response, and basically this is what I said. Maybe watch the full video before you start typing evidence. According to Aaron's definition, a body of fact, this is what his definition is, which is a body of fact, and that by itself doesn't prove anything. It's our rational interpretation of those facts that determine whether something is either true or false. And that's true. Basically, what this means is that you have to make arguments which are supported by evidence, right? Meaning you need arguments which are supported by facts. Facts by itself doesn't mean anything if the argument is bad. I even demonstrated this with the knife example. That's because anyone can claim anything to be an evidence. And that's true. Like, for example, whatever belief you have, you can claim to have evidence for it, right? Like, for example, I could say that, oh, the fact that, there's gravity proves that there's an invisible magician that is using magic to pull everything down. And gravity is evidence of that, right? Of course, that wouldn't be, I mean, technically it would be true that I do have evidence, quote unquote, but the argument is bad, right? And that's where where is going wrong, basically. And then I said, this is why court cases are usually settled with arguments and not evidence by itself. As a matter of fact, it's not just that court cases are settled with arguments. Everything is settled with arguments, right? Even in the Quran, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says to argue with the disbelievers in a best manner, or to give dawah. Because the thing is, when you're giving dawah, you have to oftentimes have to go back and forth, right? So this kind of like uh, thing is very common practice in any academic field. So when Aaron Ross says something like, "Oh, we don't need arguments, we just need evidence," it's a very stupid thing to say. I understand what he's trying to say. He's probably trying to say that, oh, you guys don't have scientific evidence or something like that. But that's a different topic. But what he's trying to probably say is that, oh, you guys don't have scientific evidence or something. But the thing is that then he says that when Jake makes an argument, he says, oh, that's just word salad. But that's not how this works. Like when you're trying to prove any position, you have to make arguments. How are you gonna prove anything? I like if I say that, oh, look at this, look at look at the existence of human beings, that proves that God exists. Then would he accept that? Of course not. But what's his rejection to that? His rejection to that is that that's a bad argument or something like that, right? It's not necessarily that we don't have evidence, right? So it's a very strange and bizarre kind of like objection that he made against Jake. We just thought was just funny. But anyway, so the guy then later responds. He says, in a you're committing the false equivalence fallacy. It's not a false equivalence, by the way, because arguments are used in every academic field. Like you cannot name one academic field where they don't use arguments. Like whether it's a medical, whether it's in the books of medicine, it's in the books of law, it's in the books of science. Like it's everywhere. You cannot have an academic field without arguments. Like when Einstein was, debunking, not debunking, but falsifying Newton's theory, he was using arguments to make his case. He wasn't just simply presenting, oh, look, uh, you know, uh, look at all this kind of like, I don't know, what do you call it? Look at all this gravity and how it works. It proves that my theory is correct. No, of course not. Like he had to like publish a paper. He had to make arguments. Then that needed to be peer reviewed by other people, right? So this whole thing is based on arguments. So anyway, so yeah, no, it's not a false equivalence. In court, the evidence is what you can use to avoid being found guilty. You don't need 100% proof that the person is in. That's not true. Like in court or anywhere, like you need convincing arguments, and convincing arguments mean that you have to have strong evidence to back up your claim, right? You can avoid a conviction even if your facts are doubtful or the arguments is not waterproof. In science, however, the truth is that what facts are. This is a statement that Aaron Ruck repeats, explains frequently. No argument needed to explain because reality is what it is. New evidence is found due to new facts. You build upon that foundation. By the way, I don't know where he gets this epistemology from. That's just very bizarre. Like no one argues like this. This is very strange. Rejecting the only to leads to sophistry, etc. So basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to reject any argument for God's existence or anything like that. Now, of course, like in the past, I have criticized ilmul kalam and I have said that people should not use ilmul kalam. But there are certain things you can demonstrate from the Quran itself, things like intelligent design and fine tuning, because these things are mentioned in the Quran. Although I object to using ilmul kalam, I don't necessarily see something like intelligent design or showing that there are signs that they're intelligent design. There's the intelligent designer, because there are verses where Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala does point to that. But anyway, the point is that you can make arguments regarding from the Quran regarding God's existence, right? So 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 then I made a response to him, which is that you're committing a false equivalence fallacy. Then I said, how is this a false equivalence? Arguments are a necessary part of every academic field of study. And yes, this includes science. Yes, that's true, because you cannot have science without arguments, because uh, you guys probably know that science is basically a field where your theories has to be falsified. It has to be falsifiable. If it's not falsifiable, then it's not science. So how is a theory falsifiable? It's only falsifiable if other person is able to argue against your position, right? How are you going to do that without challenging your evidence or your theory, right? So you have to make arguments. It's impossible otherwise. Like how are you going to falsify this? So in science, however, the truth is what the facts are. Then I say, laughing my ass off, what are you talking about, man? The whole reason the peer review process exists in science is to check if your scientific arguments are sound or not. Exactly. So whenever because you cannot just publish a scientific paper and have that accepted, uh, because someone needs to check that, right? And that process itself is a form of argumentation, because they look at your arguments, they look at the scientific arguments you're making, they're determining whether that is a good argument or not. Then they decide to publish your papers, right? This is why the whole peer-reviewed process in science exists, because of that. And not anyone can just publish anything. Like even Einstein's theory was peer-reviewed. So like it's just a very bizarre position. But anyway, similar to how a judge decides if your arguments in court is sound or not. Otherwise, what's the difference between a science and pseudoscience? Exactly. Because otherwise anything could be called a science, right? But of course not. Because the thing is that in science, it has to be falsified. People have to be able to argue against your position, right? Because they can only do that if you already made arguments, and that's what scientists do. They make arguments. In order to do any kind of hypothesis or theory, you have to make arguments to make your case. So Aaron Roy is speaking ignorance, and frankly, you're following his. This is simply not how academic fields work. It's not worth salad. So yeah, basically, it's a very kind of like stupid take, but like yeah, this is the kind of like only objection I got from like my video. And yeah, I just wanted to clarify this to you guys, because I've seen a lot of kind of like atheists kind of like make this kind of like point. Frankly, it's a very kind of like stupid point, because like so what Aaron Ra was saying is very dumb. Because he just doesn't want to deal with like Jake's argument. That's it, you know. But yeah, so you guys have any questions in regards to this, or like anything else? You can ask me in the chat. So this is something I wanted to talk about, because I've seen a lot of like Aaron Russ followers come to the comment section and just argue without really understanding what I'm saying. I just found it kind of funny. But anyway, so yeah. By the way, in case you guys are wondering, the reason I'm doing this live stream is to answer any question you guys might have. So you can ask me any questions. Uh, Actually, you know what? Let's go to some of the news section. So that's another thing I wanted to do. I want to look at what's been going on in the Muslim world right now. As you guys might know, recently there's been a war that broke out between Israel and Palestine. Now, this is a very complex topic. I feel like I don't have all the information to talk about this, but I do know a few things. So I saw a video of like this. I don't know what's it, the Ukrainian president saying that they support Israel, and I thought that was so funny. Let me share this video with you guys. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, oh, there we go. I think it's this one. Yeah. Here we go. So, so this video is something that I found kind of funny, because here this guy. Let me share the screen. I think his name is Zelensky or something. Now, again, I'm not saying anything in regards to this situation, because I feel like I don't have the full information in regards to what's happening in Palestine. Because the news is very muddy, like both sides are very biased. So I have to stay silent, because I don't know what's going on. But this kind of pissed me off, right? So this is like Ukraine's president, and this guy a few days ago was saying how like the West needs to support Ukraine because they're being invaded, right? Well, here he is condemning the Palestinian attack, or the attack that's done by Hamas against Israel, and yet Israel has been illegally occupying Palestine for a very long period of time. So when he fights back against his oppressor, it's fine, but when Palestinians do it, all of a sudden it's wrong. Like this guy's such a hypocrite. But anyway, let's just check out a portion of this video, and I will talk about it.
Тисячі ракет в небі Ізраїля. Посольство Будь-яким доступним вам способом Україна допоможе усім
Wait, hold
своїм
on.
людям. Будь-яке та дбайте, будьте
Wait.
максимально і українці. Якщо ви перебуваєте зараз в Ізраїлі, будьте максимально дорогі. Перебуваєте зараз в Ізраїлі, будьте максимально уважні.
Okay, so basically he's saying like Ukrainians should be safe
Дотримуйтеся
in
інструкцій від сил
Israel,
безпеки
which is fair. I mean, like that's
та
understandable.
дбайте про себе та інших поруч із вами. За будь-якої
If you
потреби,
need anything, please contact your
будь
embassy.
ласка, звертайтесь в наше посольство. Можу усім своїм людям, щоб не відбуло важливі кадри з
Okay.
Ізраїлю. Кадри
Oh, hold on. Footage of terrorists. Today, the whole world has seen horrific footage
бачив жахливі кадри з Ізраїлю.
from Israel. Footage of terrorists
Кадри
abusing
того, як терористи знущаються з жінок,
women and men, taking even the elderly hostage
чоловіків, як літніх людей.
without
Не
mercy. Okay, so this is interesting. So he basically starts by calling Hamas terrorist, which is interesting because the last I checked, Israeli occupation was an illegal occupation. So if anything, if I were to grant, for the sake of argument, that Hamas is terrorist, which they're not, even in this case, all you have is one kind of like criminal organization attacking. So basically, imagine this, right? You have this criminal organization that has settled in an area that does not belong to them, and these people are fighting back against this kind of criminal organization because they are criminal organization. They have no right to that land, at least a lot of it, and they put them in prison, and they're fighting back, and they're the terrorist. Like, does that make sense?
жаліючи. Мої
My
співчуття.
condolences to all those whose loved ones.
Усім швидшого одужання у життя. Особливо сприймаємо люди вбиті про знущання,
So the
захист сил
hostages.
і наша позиція
Our position is absolutely clear. Okay, here we
абсолютно
go.
чітка в будь-якій
Anyone in the world, anyone who brings terror.
точці планети.
Yeah, but that's Israel. Like, Israel has been bombing like and starving like Palestinians for like years. How are they not bringing terror? So according to him, like these people that have been starving like Palestinians, taking their land, they're not the terrorists. Like, the terrorist is the people that are fighting back.
Кожен, хто несе терор і смерть, повинен за це відповідати.
Yeah, that is Israel. Israel should be held accountable.
Сьогоднішній терорист
This terrorist attack on Israel, how can this be a terrorist attack? Like, that's the funny thing. Like, they took over their land. Like, they're simply fighting back is not a terror attack. Like, because that land doesn't belong to them. They're simply taking back their land. Because the thing is that even if you want to like go through this route of, oh, like this is like the ancient land of like Israelites or whatever, right? Even then, like most of the people there, do they have like any connection to those ancient Israelites? Can you show evidence of that? No, like it's just a bizarre like point. So the and what's funny is that this is the same guy, and especially in the Western media, right? They'll all say things like, oh, Ukrainians are so brave, they're fighting back against their oppressors, right? But when Palestinians do it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're terrorists and whatnot. I just find this really, really hypocritical and laughable. Now, again, I'm not like saying that I support Hamas or anything like that. As far as I know, Hamas is not an elected representative of the Palestinian people, so I remain silent on this matter because it's a very complicated issue. If you guys may not know, but right now Palestinian government is kind of fractured. So because of this, I can't really make comment on it. However, what is not up for dispute is that land belongs to Palestinians, and Israeli occupation is an illegal occupation. So, is it? And when he says that when he calls like these Palestinians as terrorists, I just find it interesting. But anyway,
напад на Ізраїль
I
був
was thoroughly prepared for about
ретельно підготовлений,
Or
увесь світ розуміє,
understands which terror sponsors could have
які саме спонсори терору могли спонукати
interest
та
in organize
забезпечити
this
організацію
attack,
цієї атаки. Ізраїль має
as Israel has every
повне
right
право на захист від
to
терору.
protect itself from terror. Okay. Yeah, except Israel shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Як і будь-яка інша держава. І дуже важливо,
Does any other state? Yeah, so does Palestine.
щоб увесь світ
Important for the
об'єднано
world to
та
respond to terror in a united
принципово реагував
and
на терор.
prepared. So why? This is what I don't understand. Why are the Palestinian terrorists? Like, why are they being labeled terrorists? Okay, I understand that. Like, if like I'm trying my best to still met this guy's position, right? So I understand that. Like, oh, okay, you know what? Fine. Let's say for the sake of argument that they struck first, right? But then why are they terrorists though? Because it's their land. Like by definition, they cannot be terrorists. It's their land. Like, does this guy not know what the word terrorist mean? Like, if I try to fight to take back my land, I cannot be a terrorist. It's my land. Especially if other people have forcefully taken it from me or my ancestors' land, right? That makes someone a freedom fighter, not necessarily a terrorist. Same way when Ukrainians were fighting the Russians, they were not terrorists. They were fighting for their land, right? It's how it goes. And yet, for some reason, when Ukrainians do it, it's freedom fighters. But like when Palestinians do it, it's like terrorism. Like it's bizarre.
Жодної підтримки терористам, куди б вони не спрямовували.
What's ironic is that this guy also like was asking money from like US because he's worried like all the aid money is gonna go to Israel now. Maybe he could get some of that action. I don't know. Because actually there's some funny comments in the comment section. Actually, let me read some of it. So one person says Zelensky have no single right to condemn against Hamas for this attack. This is pure hypocrisy, and it shows Zelensky sacrificed Ukrainians for money. Yeah, so people are criticizing him. I thought for a minute, best Gustav Gallerstein. So yeah, so a lot of people are criticizing this guy, saying that he's a hypocrite. And this person says, "We support Russia's war against terrorism in Ukraine," which is true because the thing is that if go by his logic, if the Palestinians are terrorists, then by that definition, Ukrainians can also be called terrorists, right? Because if that's the case, the Palestinians are terrorists, then why are Ukrainians not terrorists? Of course, I'm not saying they are, but that's his logic, right? Just such a bizarre like person. So yeah, everyone's like roasting this guy. Everyone's roasting him, and yeah, it's absolutely shameful to be honest, and it's especially heart wrenching because considering what happened uh, with Ukraine, and a lot of Muslims and Muslim countries actually supported Ukraine, right? And here they are backstabbing the Muslim world, or at least the Palestinians, by saying that we support Israel. Now again, like this conflict is complicated. Of course, I cannot like cover or maybe do justice the whole thing, and there are many people who have covered it much more smarter than me. Uh, and I've seen some brothers also criticize Hamas, and there are some grounds for that because the thing is that Hamas is not exactly a representative. But that being said, at the same time, we should also empathize with our brothers and sisters in Palestine because this is their land, and the criminal party here is Israelis. Okay, so we should condemn at least Israel without glorifying like what Hamas is doing or like showing like full crazy support for Hamas or anything like that. But at the same time, like it's their land. Like they should fight for it. But you know, but then again, of course, it's complicated because I don't want to go into the whole political situation regarding what's happening. But it's just what I found this like clip hilarious because this guy is clearly a hypocrite. But anyway, so yeah, that's I guess that's the news section. Oh, by the way, what's funny is I think Jordan Peterson actually made like a tweet in regards to this. So basically, I think he tweeted out something very stupid. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Mm, let me see. Okay, here we go. So it's an X, Twitter. All right, let me see if I can find the tweet. Should be jailed. Where is his tweet? Did he delete it? I think he deleted it. I can find the tweet. Oh, interesting. So basically, I saw like a tweet by Jordan Peterson where he basically says that go get him or something like that. Oh, hmm. I can't find the tweet. But anyway, so if any of you guys can share the link of the tweet. So basically, he tweeted out something like, uh, you know, he basically tweeted out to Netanyahu saying that go get him or something like that. Um, Tweet to Netanyahu. Uh, but if any of you guys, uh, oh, okay, I think he deleted the tweet because I can't seem to find it. Uh, okay, I found some interesting stuff. Okay, let me share the share the screen. Okay, so this is Jordan Peterson. He basically tweeted this out. So someone showed solidarity with the Palestinians, right? They said the solidarity to the Palestinian resistance, and he wrote, "You martyrs, anti-Semitic rats." Oh my God, what happened? You, you martyrs, anti-Semitic rats. Like, how is it anti-Semitic? Like saying that, like, uh, you know, showing support to Palestine is anti-Semitic. So yeah, basically he posted a few other stuff. Like then in another place, let me see if I can. He basically posted. Where is it? This is so yeah. Basically, he's condemning anyone who's like support the Palestinian side, and he also tweeted out and said that uh, basically tweeted out to Netanyahu regarding go get him or something like that. Basically, to telling him to kill more Palestinians or something like that. So this guy is clearly a piece of ass. I'm not gonna say the word here because it might ban me or something. But yeah, this guy is a clear Zionist. Him and his buddy, like Sam Harris, they've been at this for like a very long period of time. Uh, Seems like I have zero viewers right now. Anyone watching? Please write something in the chat. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on regarding this whole situation in regards to Israel and Palestine? Let me know. And yeah, and also, if you guys have any question in regards to Islam or like or anything like that, you can ask me. I'm gonna be here for like an hour or something. So yeah, or if you guys have anything in regards to like what you want to say. Actually, there's a video that maybe I could react to. It's from One Path Network, I think. Let me share it with you guys. Yeah, it's this one. I think they mention it.
tweeted to Netanyahu, give him hell, advocating violence against.
Yeah, okay. So this is the one. And I can't necessarily find this tweet. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe he deleted it. So basically, he tweeted out, give him hell. Give him hell. So he's literally saying to kill Palestinians. That's what he's saying. Now I don't know why. What's his big deal? Why does he care about what happens in Israel or Palestine? Like I don't genuinely don't understand. Like why does he care what happens there? And that's the funny thing. Like why does America care about what happens in Israel and Palestine? Because you need to understand, like the reason why Israel has been so powerful is because of it has backing from America. So why does American government, not necessarily the people don't care, like why does American government, do you guys think, that is so like obsessed with Israel? Because the thing is that the way like I see it is that they didn't benefit them in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they sent like what, billions of dollars, and in places like in America and other places, you have people who doesn't have a job and doesn't have like basic like healthcare and stuff like that, and then you're sending like billions of dollars and you're promoting like this kind of like weird worldview of like, oh, we're against anti-establishment, we're anti-establishment, we don't care about authority figures, and then you're like twisted tweeting out this nonsense, promoting like literal like international criminals, and then you're saying, oh, you're against anti-authoritarianism. Like seriously? I mean, like, and this is the thing, like this guy is such like a weasel, and I'm sorry to say this word, but this guy is a weasel. He is a weasel, and I've already criticized him in the past, but this is like a next level, you know because again, like you need to understand, like you use simple logic, which is that it's their land and they're trying to drive them out from their land. These people who have illegally international against international law taken over the land, so they're kicking them out. So like why are you supporting these criminals? He's literally supporting criminals, international criminals. So like why? Like at least, like if you think that this conflict is too complicated and stuff like that, then at least, like I don't know, like stay quiet. But here, like what message are you sending? You're just saying like, give them hell to like this international criminal. But yeah,
The Palestinians. What is your response to Jordan Peterson?
so yeah, that's basically what he says. And in this clip, basically, like they have like Yasser Qadhi like talking about this. But yeah, that's the tweet I wanted to show you guys. So basically, him, and actually, I wonder what Sam Harris been up to. Did he post anything? Let me see. Is he even on Twitter? Oh, this is not the Sam Harris I'm looking for. Uh, yeah, I don't think he said anything, or at least not I can see. But yeah, and this is basically what's been going on. So if you guys have any thoughts, you can comment in the chat. If you guys have any questions or anything like that. Wow, no one's watching, man. Brother Malcolm, are you there? I think he left. Um, well, it's fine. But the thing is, I do want to do this live stream regularly to, in a more casual fashion, talk about my video or talk about like some of the recent events that's been going on. Sometimes I might have guests with me, so you guys might let's see to it. Um, yeah. So yeah, this is like in the news, basically. Let me see. Let me check the news. Maybe. Okay, so there's a bunch of like news articles that is coming out regarding the whole conflict. I cannot play all of it because I think I'm gonna get a strike or something. So, yeah, um, yeah, it's kind of crazy, I guess. But anyway, um, so it seems like a full-on war is breaking out. There's footage of like buildings being destroyed. Like my only worry is about the Palestinian civilians, because the thing is that at the end of the day, Israelis have more weapons, and the Palestinian side doesn't have enough technology to defend the civilians. And so I pray that our brothers and sisters in Palestine can stay safe, and hopefully this conflict comes to an end soon. Hopefully in favor of like the Palestinian side, inshallah. But yeah, um, well, it seems like no one's watching, so I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do here. But yeah, I'll be here for like another 18 minutes or something. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. Where is everyone? Why is no one here? By the way, if you guys have any request and you want to me to kind of like watch or respond to any videos, you can do so. Um, I'll take a look at the video in question. Um, brother Hamza Zorses posted a tweet, not a tweet, I guess like a post or something. Let me share the screen here. You at Jordan Pearson are a weak, unprincipled man. You will be remembered as an apartheid apologist and a facilitator of oppression. Here's a reminder. So this is brother Hamza Zor says he's kind of criticizing Jordan Peterson. It seems like. Wait, what's this video?
Bismillah.
So yeah, this is like his response to what happened. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it seems like everyone is talking about this, talking about this topic. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much about it regarding the news section. If you guys have any question, again, I'm here. If you guys want me to react to or respond to anything. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like pictures and videos of like bombardment that's been coming out. Uh, Personally, I try to avoid these type of things because it really upsets me when I see like this kind of like footage of like people being killed and bombed and stuff like that. It's just it's sometimes it's too much. This is why I, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but like I basically try to stay away from Twitter as much as possible, because if you're on Twitter, especially on Muslim Twitter, you will see a lot of footage of like very kind of like disturbing kind of like videos of like people being killed and that kind of stuff, especially in warfare. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like these type of things are sometimes necessary because to raise awareness, especially in regards to like war and conflict like this. But at the same time, you know, yeah, sometimes it can be a bit too much, you know. So I just hope everyone can stay safe in regards to this conflict. And I don't know. I guess I hope that there's a peaceful resolution. I hope the Palestinian side can get at least some land back or something, because you know, like having like this kind of like the situation that the Palestinians are in is just not an ideal situation in any way, shape, or form. So may Allah help them. And yeah. So if you guys have any questions for me, you can ask me anything in regards to Islam or like anything in regards to the channel. I'm gonna go in a few minutes, 40 minutes about from now on. Uh, really, no one's watching. Man, that's a disappointment. But I guess that's to be expected. I mean, I didn't really announce this live stream to anyone. Uh, so hopefully tomorrow when I come, well, do another live stream. Hopefully there are more people there. Actually, I found a video of like Sheikh Ahmed Bidat speaking on regarding the Palestinian situation. Maybe I could react to some of it. I don't know if that's like is that, yeah. Let me see. Let me share the screen with you guys. Yeah, let me watch some of it and then I'll go inshallah.
Problem in the Middle East between the Arabs and the Jews. And they were trying to destroy every Palestinian in Beirut. You remember the occasion. Every day there was news.
By the way, this is from like 10 to 20 years ago. You know, he was talking about this.
American cluster bombs were being used.
Brothers and sisters in Islam, ladies and gentlemen.
And Friday the 13th is double bad luck. So you have Friday the 13th this evening, and you see here in the August, this evening's paper, Israeli hostage blitz. It says here, commandos rescue 30 passengers, kill 3 Arab guerrillas in 25-second dawn raid, and it carries on. It's an eternal reminder. It's a gruesome reminder about the problem in the Middle East between the Arabs and the Jews. Now, this title also is not a title which I have thought of.
Okay, so one thing I'm just gonna debunk quickly, which is this notion of like criticizing Israel equals to criticizing Jewish people or anti-Semitism is absolutely false. It's a complete non sequitur. Non sequitur. Hold on, I have a animation of this, and it's just like really silly to make this argument. Let me see if I can find the. Let me add the clip. Fallacies. There you go. Let me wait until it's loaded. So basically, this idea of like saying that criticizing Israel equals to criticizing Jewish people is absolutely false. There's no anti-Semitism there. Uh, uh, Zionism or like you know, Israel is a country. It's not a race. So is just because you're criticizing Israel doesn't mean you're criticizing Jewish people. It just doesn't follow. It's a non sequitur fallacy. Here is this one. Yeah, this is the fallacy. It's a non sequitur. It doesn't logically follow. You know, so this is a false claim, and you'll see a lot of people like make this claim. Oh, you know, criticizing Israel means criticizing Jewish people, which is false. It's just absolutely false. Anyway, let's continue.
Arabs and Israel, conflict or conciliation. When the Israelis, when they attacked Lebanon, in Beirut, they attacked the Muslims, I think it was 1982, to wipe out the Palestinians once and for all, solve the problem. That's what the Jews were thinking, that by destroying these Palestinians in Beirut, they would solve the problem of the Middle East. Around that time, I get a
Yeah, so basically, I think he's talking about the first Nakba, perhaps.
telephone call in my office from a Professor Lawson of the Natal University, professor of law. His name was Lawson. So he's asking, he says, look, the Israeli Consul General is invited by the Jewish students to lecture to Natal University on the problem of the Middle East. But I feel, he said, I feel that it is unfair that we only listen to one side of the story. If you would be prepared, we would like you to also be represented on the platform.
By the way, is anyone here? Write something in the comments. I see absolutely no comments. Some people are showing up, but like not writing anything.
Present the Muslim point of view. And I am always game. It's something I just can never say no. Somebody invites me, and if I'm free, I say, right. So he said, how should we advertise the topic? So
someone wrote a comment in Arabic, I believe. Brother, can you write it in English? I cannot understand Arabic. I think he's writing something like, and thank you for coming here, inshallah. Subscribe to the channel, by the way, if you guys are watching. Yeah, please subscribe to the channel, and also like thank you for joining. Oh, he left. Okay. Actually, what did he write? May I see what it means.
he suggested that we advertise the pros and cons of Israel, which means the for and against of Israel. Very neutral subject. The pros and cons, this man, he will say in the favor of Israel, and I might have something opposite to say. Pros and cons of Israel. This is a very beautiful topic. He says, I will inform the Jews and I will come back to you. I said, all right. A few days later, he phones me and he says, you know, the Jews are suggesting they are not satisfied with your topic, the way you present it. They want the subject to be Arabs and Israel, conflict or conciliation? Question mark. So I said, all right. You see, there is a catch. People generally don't see the catch. The Jew is very ingenious. Allah has given him a lot of intelligence, a lot more than most of us. And in the Holy Quran, I was checking up this evening, you know, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam had two sons, Hazrat Ismail and Hazrat Ishaq. And Allah Bari Ta'ala describing Hazrat Ismail as Ghulaman Halima. Halim means a suffering and humble person. And he describes Ishaq as Alim, very knowledgeable.
Yeah, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala oftentimes talks very highly of, Jewish prophets. And this is something you'll notice if you read the Quran. So this claim or accusation that, somehow Islam is anti-Semitic or like criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic is just, it's very silly. But
no, Allah is all wise. He's omniscient. He knows. And he's describing Ismail and his children as Halim, submissive, suffering, patient, persevering. There are the children of Hazrat Ismail, the Arabs. And the children of Ishaq, the Jews, Alim, knowledgeable. Allah is giving, as I was telling you the other night, everybody, Allah is giving something special. He's given something special to the Arabs, he's given something special to the Jews. So this Alim, knowledgeable people, ingenious people, they are now tying us up before we start. Conflict or conciliation? What do you want? So if we say conflict, we tell the audience, you see, these people, Muslims are brawlers. They're looking for trouble. They want a conflict. We want peace, they want conflict. So from the word go, we are on the losing side, in the minds of our listeners. If we say conciliation, then they say, why are you throwing stones at us? Why don't you leave us alone? So it's heads I win, tails you lose. Either way, you are the loser.
That's a very good point. But yeah, he's right. So basically, what he's saying is that he had like this kind of like debate topic, right? So the Israeli side, they said that we want the debate topic to be: do the Arabs want a conflict or do they want resolution? So basically, they're doing like a black and white fallacy, right? As if like these are the only two options. They're framing it as if you want conflict, then you are a violent person. You guys want violence, but if you want resolution, that's the only acceptable position. When in reality, what's happening here is that the Israeli side have taken over Palestinian lands. So there's no quote unquote conflict or violence because it's simply them taking back their lands, their rightful lands. And they're like selling that as, oh, quote unquote conflict. It's not conflict. It's simply them taking back their land. That's the right thing to do. There's no conflict here. The only reason conflict is happening is because these criminals have come and settled in their land. By the way, I'm not talking about like the normal people. I'm talking about the government. All this kind of like Israeli kind of like terrorists that have taken over their land and keep kicking them out. So he's absolutely right. So either way, you lose whatever topic you choose. If you say that, oh, we want conflict, then you're shown as like this kind of people who want violence, right? If you say that, oh, we want a resolution, then you lose because you're giving. That means that what Israelis did is right. You have to accept what the Israelis did. That means the Israelis illegally taking over Palestinian land is right. It's correct. Of course, that's not true. But either way, the way they're framing it is clearly this. They're clearly doing a false dilemma. They're clearly creating a false dilemma. When in reality, what's actually happening is that Palestinian people are trying to kick out these invaders that have taken over their land. That's it. So it's a very good point he made.
All right, we accept it as they want it. You see, this game, the Jews played 2,000 years ago with Jesus Christ. Same, no difference. A very ingenious people, as I say. They came to Jesus again and again with problems. Created problems. They created problems. They come to Jesus and they say, Master, in the Hebrew language, they say, Rabbi, Maulana Sahib, Sheikh, Sheikh, Imam, must we pay tribute to Caesar or not? Must we pay taxes or not? What a question to ask this messenger of God. Must we pay taxes to the government or not? See, there's a catch. The catch is, if he says pay tribute, pay taxes, then they will tell the people that this man is not our Messiah, the man we are waiting for, our liberator. This is not the man. Because he's a stooge of the government. He's telling us to pay taxes. So he's in trouble. Jesus will be in trouble. If he says don't pay taxes, then they won't pay taxes. So if the government accosts themselves, our Messiah says don't pay. So either way, Jesus loses. It's heads I win, tails you lose. Beautiful, beautiful strategy. Either way, Jesus will be the loser. But Jesus is also a Jew, and also Allah has given him that intelligence. So he's asking them, where is the tribute money, the tax money? So they give him a coin. So yeah. So whose inscription is this? This picture. Whose picture is this? This is Caesar's. He said, well, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. What belongs to him, give it to him. So he got out of the difficulty. He got out of the difficulty. I'm only demonstrating how ingenious Allah has made these people. You can never win against a Jew in any type of written document you get into it, or in a discussion or a dialogue. It's very difficult. They come to Jesus again.
So basically, what he's talking about is, may go back.
Trouble. Who Jesus will be in trouble. If Imam.
So basically, I think it's from Matthew 22:17. So where basically Jesus was asked by some rabbis this question that, is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not, right? So the reason they're saying that...
must we pay tribute to Caesar or not? Must we pay taxes or not?
So basically, the reason they're asking him is because they wanted to trap him.
What a question to ask this messenger of God. Must we pay taxes to the government or not? See, there's a catch. The catch is, if he says pay tribute, pay taxes, then they will tell the people that this man is not our Messiah, the man we are waiting for, our liberator. This is not the man. Because he's a stooge of the government. He's telling us to pay taxes.
Yeah, so basically if Jesus says that, you should pay taxes, then they'll say, oh, he's a government stooge.
So he's in trouble. Who Jesus will be in trouble. If he says don't pay taxes, then they won't pay taxes. So if the government accosts them, he said, look, our Messiah says don't pay. So
basically, if he says that, no, don't pay taxes, they'll say, oh, look, Jesus told us to not pay taxes. Go get him, right? So the genius kind of like response.
That way Jesus loses. It's heads I win, tails you lose. Beautiful, beautiful strategy. Either way, Jesus would be the loser. But Jesus is also a Jew. And also Allah has given him that intelligence. So he's asking them, where is the tribute money, the tax money? So they give him a coin. So here, they say, whose inscription is this picture? Whose picture is this? This is Caesar's. They say, well, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. What belongs to him, give it to him.
So yeah, basically Jesus kind of got out of that situation by saying, whose money is this? It's Caesar's money. So give Caesar the money that he owed, right? So he's not saying you should pay, whether you should pay like Caesar or your government this money or not. He simply say, if the money is Caesar's, give it to Caesar's, right? So it's a kind of like a clever response to this kind of like dilemma they tried to put him in. But anyways,
So he got out of the difficulty.
by the way, this interesting
He
is
got
that a lot of Christians kind of like use this verse to justify saying that, oh, secularism is like the valid position. When in reality, Jesus never said whether this has nothing to do with secularism, by the way, this verse in particular. It's a simply Jesus kind of like debunking kind of like this kind of like Jewish rhetoric or kind of like rabbinic rhetoric against him. But so, yeah.
out of the difficulty. I'm only demonstrating how ingenious Allah has made these people. You can never win against a Jew in any type of written document you get into it, or in a discussion or a dialogue. It's very difficult. They come to Jesus again, according to their own records, the Christian record. Now they bring a woman, they catch her and they bring her. They say, Master, this woman, we caught her in the act of doing sinner, adultery. What must we do to her? So if he says, stone her, they'll stone her, because that was the law. In the Torah, it says the adulterer and the adulteress must be stoned to death. So if he says stone her, they'll go and kill her. And adultery was not a capital crime in the Roman Empire. So they'll be charged. So why did you kill the woman? He said, look, our Messiah said so. So he's in trouble with the government. If he says, let her go, then they say, this man is not a man of God. Because the Torah says that the adulterer and the adulteress must be stoned to death. So again, heads I win, tails you lose. Both ways, Jesus loses.
So that's another good point. Which is, so basically, this is like the verse in regards to adultery. So the rabbis came to Jesus and asked him like, oh, do you want us to stone this woman or not, right? So if Jesus says that, oh, you guys should stone her, then he would be a criminal because that's outlawed, I think, in Roman law, right? But if he says that no, don't stone her, then they'll say like, oh, this guy's not a man of God, right? So either way, they win. Now, of course, we know what Jesus says. He says that whoever is among you is not a sinner should cast the first stone.
So what does he do? Again, he's also a Jew. Allah has also given him that intelligence. So he says, let him who's free from sin cast the first stone. Anybody who's sinless, you haven't done any crime, you didn't do haram, zina, then you start. And then he started scribbling in the sand. The Christians don't know what he was scribbling. People were watching over his shoulder to find out what he's scribbling. Actually, he was scribbling combinations of names. Mary and Joseph. This guy was looking over the shoulder, it's Joseph. And he had something to do with Mary. So it's Mary and Joseph. It reminds him, it's me. Away he goes. Then Solomon and Bathsheba. So the guy was looking over the shoulders, Solomon, and he had something to do with Bathsheba. So away he goes. By the time he's finished scribbling these combinations, the whole lot of them were gone. Because they were all zanis, they were all adulterers. So he solved the problem. Now what are we doing with the Jews? So ingenious. What do you want? Conflict or conciliation? I said, all right, you can have it. Let them have it as they want. If they say, you must speak first, I said, all right, I will speak first. Alhamdulillah. I said, look, I said, all right, you can have adulterers. So he goes. By the time he's finished scribbling these combinations, the whole lot of them were gone. Guy was looking over the shoulder with Mary. So it's Mary and Joseph. It reminds him, it's me. Away he goes. Then Solomon and Bathsheba. The guy was looking over the shoulders, Solomon, and he had something to do with Bathsheba. So away he goes. By the time he's finished scribbling these combinations, the whole lot of them were gone. Because they were all zanis, they were all adulterers. So he said,
So basically, Jesus kind of like showed how like their lineage oftentimes included adulterers, because according to their text, right? For example, if you look at Lot and what happened there, if you're okay with that, accepting that, then then surely you should have no problem with this. So yeah, basically, what's the point he was making?
no, what are we doing with the Jews? So ingenious. What do you want? Conflict or conciliation? I said, all right, you can have it. Let them have it as they want. If they say, you must speak first, I said, all right, I will speak first. Alhamdulillah. I said, look, if Allah has put you in the right, if you have got the right thing, you don't have anything to worry about. So we had a debate with Dr. Lottam of the Israeli embassy in Pretoria and myself. It was a fantastic meeting. It was videotaped. But you see, when we started this meeting, it started with a small hall, and there were hundreds milling outside, they want to get in and they can't get in. So the chairman said, look, we have to move from here into a bigger hall. So everybody started moving to the bigger hall. And this
So yeah, that was basically Sheikh Ahmadidat's talk. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing, but it's interesting because he talked about this nearly 20 to 30 years ago, and it's still relevant now because this type of kind of like false dilemma is still being created. As a matter of fact, this exact same argument is still being used, by a lot of Zionists. So it's just it's a very sad situation that people still fall for this kind of like arguments. But regardless, uh, Okay, I guess I'll end the show right now. I guess literally no one was watching. I don't know where's my where are all my subs. I'm gonna have some talk with you guys later on. Like seriously, like kind of disappointed. Like it seems like no one's watching, but regardless, it's fine. I really like went live without announcing it to anyone, so it's fine, I guess. But yeah, inshallah, I might do another live stream tomorrow around the same time, I guess. So if you guys have any questions in regards to this, you can ask me. And yeah, again, thank you guys for watching. No one's watching right now. Well, whatever, those who did watched, thank you. And inshallah, I'll see you guys next time. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me see. Where's the. All right.